What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another game day update. I'm Kelcey, and I am joined by Serena Winters, the Sideline reporter for the Cavs. Serena, congratulations, first of all. Midway through, you're diving in. Are you ready to get going with the Grizzlies?
I am ready to get going. You guys had a heck of a game last night against Brooklyn. I mean, I feel like there's like 8 people out for your team, and yet the Grizzlies are so deep that they're able to just dominate Brooklyn, especially with Katie and Harden. I was impressed.
Crazy, right? Yeah, we actually did. We had 8 guys out. And if I look at the injury report, like right this second, obviously with protocols and Zaire's doubtful, like things can change. But right now we've got Zaire out, Kyle, Shaq, Dylan, John Conchar, D'Anthony Melton, Xavier Tillman, and Tyrell Terry all out again for the second half of back-to-back against the Cavs. We look over at you guys. You've got, and again, this can change. So like, tell me if you know any different, but Rubio, Sexton, Okoro, Rondo, and Osman out. So
that all sounds correct.
Okay, so this is not the same game where we saw these two teams play earlier in this season. This is the last final regular season time. These two will match up. And Serena, I kind of feel like both these teams are like the surprise teams in each of their conferences. The Cavs right now sitting at 5th, the Grizzlies at 4th. And I don't think going into this year, people would have expected that. But doesn't that make tonight like kind of exciting?
It does. I think that's a really good storyline for this game, is that you look at the two conferences, and if you're to pinpoint a team that kind of has been your surprise team, it is each of these teams. And that's a lot of fun, right? To have these two teams going at it this evening. And it's going to be a fun matchup. I mean, Memphis, as you know, is the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. So I'm curious, with the Cavs being really solid defensively this season, especially in the half court. I'm curious just how that plays out, because it seems that every team has trouble stopping the Grizzlies on the offensive boards. And the other thing is transition defense. Although, you know, the Cavs have been a really solid half court defense team, they could use a little bit of work in transition. And Memphis is able to get out on the break and get some easy points there. So that should be interesting. And look, you mentioned all the guys out for you tonight, but I don't care, because you still have Ja Morant. You still have Ja Morant. And Bane has been playing so well for you guys. So the Cavs certainly have their hands full. I will tell you that Darius Garland, who was not on the injury report, he has not played in the past 4 games because he was out with those health and safety protocols. He did practice today. He was at shoot around this morning. Supposedly he's a game time decision for tonight, but I do think it's promising that he's not on the injury report. So he could be back for the Cavs, and that would be huge. But Isaac Okoro, as you mentioned, him being out, he left the last game with a left elbow injury. So he is also out for the Cavs. So look, it's just like plug and play here. See who the Cavs have and see what they could do this evening.
All right, I'm going to break down kind of the two things that you mentioned, and I'm going to start with the offensive rebounds for the Grizzlies. Obviously, that has a lot to do with the bigs. And now I feel like looking at the Cavs, this is probably one of the best teams to match up big-wise. If you look at the last game against the Pacers, like their big guys were the big 3 who were scoring. And that's, you know, Jarrett Allen, who is playing an all-star caliber type season, Evan Mobley and Kevin Love. And I feel like that goes perfectly with Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Killian Tilly. I think tonight, usually, and we're going to talk about Ja, it's usually like John Desmond. Tonight it's going to be a really good battle of bigs.
It will be. And that's kind of fun, because you don't see that, you know, every night in the NBA anymore, right? Like we see a lot of small ball, we see a lot of 3-pointers, and what the Cavs' strength is offensively right now with what they have really is, like you said, the bigs play. So, you know, the front court battle, I think, is going to be fun. I think that, again, going back to the boards, that's going to be a huge battle. Obviously, points in the paint. I think Memphis had something like 70 points in the paint the opening night when they played the Cavs. So that's clearly going to be a big battle. But look, it is one of the funnest things about this Cavs team is watching the bigs dominate. So having that battle against another team with such strong bigs is certainly going to be something to watch out for.
Okay, and then really quickly, Serena, because we got a game to prepare for, the backcourt. And the backcourt right now is being dominated with the Grizzlies between Ja and Desmond. Like I mentioned, Ja had 37 points last night. Desmond Desmond Bane has just been on fire. If you are coming in as the Cavs, or if you're coming in as a Grizzlies fan, you're like, who is going to defend this duo? Who would you say is kind of the matchup to look out for in the backcourt?
You know, that's tough because we don't even know what the starting lineup is going to be this evening with Isaac Okoro out, right? Because he's been starting for the Cavs. Last game when Okoro was out in the second half, JB Bickerstaff had Brandon Goodwin, who is on a 10-day starting in the second half. And he's a solid defender, comes in and he scraps. Lamar Stevens comes in and he scraps. There's a lot of like scrappy guys who come in right now. But like I said, with Darius Garland potentially back tonight, well, we just don't know. I mean, that's the thing, is we don't know what the starting lineup is going to be. So look, you know your team, and you know Ja, and you know Bane, and it is going to be just so difficult to contain those guys. What did Bane have, like 5 threes against Brooklyn, something like that? He's been really good for you.
All right. Well, hopefully we find out closer to. I hope that Darius Garland is back in, because we don't like playing teams, shorthanded, even though we have 100 guys out, but we want a full squad as we can get on either end. So let's hope that he is back in feeling ready. Serena, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm wishing you all the luck tonight.
Thank you so much. Right back at you, but not too much luck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Everyone at home, the game tips off at 6:00 p.m. You can watch it on Valley Sports Southeast.